There's a team that a CISO should deepen engagement with to align with the business, but doesn't. Ask most CISOs which executive teams they spend the most time with, and you'll hear the usual answers. IT, legal, risk, maybe even finance. But there's one team that often gets overlooked, even though they sit at the center of critical business processes that directly impact security: human resources, or HR. This video came about because of a video series about cybersecurity aimed at non-technical business leaders and board members with questions that they could drill into about business issues related to cyber. This video is not that. It's focused squarely on cyber leaders and to a lesser extent HR leaders, with specific suggestions to improve alignment between the team. Let's dig in deeper. HR owns processes that determine who enters the organization, who moves within it, and who exits. Cyber is responsible for securing those same people across their entire life cycle. There's plenty of risk surface area crying out for deep symbiotic engagement between these two teams, yet in many organizations, they operate in isolation, creating unnecessary risks, inefficiencies, and missed opportunities. Let's start with a process that begins with HR and should end with cyber: employee onboarding. Every new hire goes through an HR-driven workflow that covers contracts, benefits, and payroll. But what about security? HR should be working directly with cyber to ensure role-based access is provisioned at the start, granting only what's necessary instead of defaulting to broad permissions that create long-term risks. Everybody knows that a streamlined process means that from day one, employees have exactly what they need and nothing more. This shouldn't surprise anyone. But the onboarding process can be deeper, richer, and more beneficial to the organization. Concerned that nobody reads the cyber policies? Try moving all user-focused information security policy statements into the employee handbook. Usually, employees are required to sign that they've read the employee handbook and make policy updates part of the HR approval process for changes. The board and any post-incident regulators will love this. New employees can unintentionally violate policy and are often targeted for phishing. Another suggestion would be to let cyber have 30 to 60 minutes as part of the onboarding process. By participating directly in the onboarding process, CISOs can tangibly shorten the learning curve for those new to the network. Now let's flip it. A process that begins with cyber and should end with HR: access reviews. Cyber teams conduct regular audits to find employees with excessive permissions, orphaned accounts, or access that no longer aligns with their role. But without HR, it's difficult to know if an employee has moved to a different department, taken on new responsibilities, or even left the company. By reformatting HR data that already exists into a format that can be more easily consumed by cyber, the cyber team can integrate access reviews with HR's job role data. Unnecessary permissions can be revoked automatically, reducing risk and eliminating manual cleanup. That's a win-win. Another key process that needs stronger collaboration is offboarding. HR knows when someone is leaving, but if that information doesn't immediately flow to cyber, access lingers. Whether it's a voluntary resignation or a sudden termination, HR and cyber should have a tightly coordinated and measurable offboarding workflow that automatically disables access, revokes credentials, and ensures company data stays protected. The detailed steps in this process are for another video, but offboarding isn't just about security. It's about protecting intellectual property, customer trust, and even compliance with regulations. What I've found from my professional experience is that HR may measure their time from a termination or resignation through all of the steps to notify cyber, and the cyber team may separately measure their responses from HR notification to the access actually being revoked. What's missing is the end-to-end flash-to-bang metric that really matters. How long does a revocation take in total after an employee termination or resignation? I found this end-to-end metric key in terms of identifying friction points and opportunities to improve the overall process. The results: business has a need to securely terminate network access, and this metric answers the question that matters, which ensures better alignment. Let's talk about policy enforcement. HR sets expectations about workplace behavior, and cyber sets expectations around digital behavior. When these policies don't align, employees get mixed signal. HR might push for more flexibility in remote work, while cyber is tightening controls around personal devices. The solution: joint policy development. When HR and cyber co-create policies, they ensure security measures align with company culture and business operations, rather than feeling like arbitrary restriction. One last area where deepening engagement pays off: insider risk monitoring. HR tracks behavioral changes, disengagement, sudden absenteeism, or conflicts in the workplace. Cyber monitors unusual data access, failed login attempts, or downloads of sensitive files. Separately, these might seem like minor issues. Together, they can signal a potential insider threat before it escalates. A structured collaboration between HR and cyber with clear escalation paths ensures risks are addressed early without overstepping privacy concerns. CISOs who strengthen ties with HR don't just improve security, they improve business alignment. When these two teams collaborate, security becomes part of the employee experience rather than an afterthought or a roadblock. The best part, none of this requires new technology, just better processes and closer engagement. This is Tony Gray. Thanks.